The views expressed on the Convo Lounge do not reflect the views of our current employers or our future employers.
Welcome to the Convo Lounge, everybody, with your host, Shar Rochelle, Antonio Crow, Amir Anthony, and we are joined by a very special guest of Breaking the Cycle, Johnnie Lonon. Lonon, but I know you as Johnnie Lonon. Shout out to 80.
What's going on? Johnny.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all having me on.
So I really wanted to bring you on first just to thank you and give you your roses while you're here, because you are holding courageous conversations with millennials about a lot of things that are plaguing the Black community. So I want to just have you start by telling us, how did Breaking the Cycle even begin? How did the vision even come about?
Yeah, so Breaking the Cycle started with a program that I did at Del State. So I went to Delaware State University, was in a bunch of different organizations, and when I became a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, we did a program called Breaking the Cycle, and was just talking about different things that we dealt with as college students and how we can make that transition into the real world after we graduate. So that's where the idea came from, and that was in 2013. And then from there, I kind of had the vision that I wanted to start an organization, which is giving back to people that's not only my age but younger, so they can spread those gems as well. So I started doing a lot more public speaking at different schools. I would be frequently going back to Del State to do talks like the sports management department, because that's what I majored in, and then speaking at some different schools and bringing kids to games. I was working with the Philadelphia 76ers at the time, and would bring kids to games and just have dope talks with them about just different things that they're going to see at their age and as they get older, and kind of using the sports as a segue to get them interested, but also have some dope conversation, to get them to sit still and just be interested in talking about those things. So that's how it started. And I think that I started really taking it seriously probably in the last year. And I think that the pandemic was probably sped up that process a little bit of all right, I've been so focused on my 9 to 5 and, just what I'm doing with that. And I kind of kept putting Breaking the Cycle on the back burner. And I just realized this is something I need to take seriously. This is something that will be really important for my community and people that look like me. And I just started getting the ball rolling. So it's been really during quarantine where I've been really getting that ball rolling and taking it more seriously and putting the work in to make something happen. And luckily, in the last couple of months, I've had some tremendous support. We're just doing different programs and doing some planning for 2021.
That's what's up. Yeah, I've watched a few of your lives, and one of the things that stood out most, your content is great, very great show topic content, but your tribe, you are the epitome of what it means for iron to sharpen iron and making sure that you have the right people in your tribe. So I hope that people take that away as well. It's not only great conversation, but it's the minds that you having your circle. That's dope to me. Dope. Yeah, especially for your generation. You're younger than us. So that's a dope, most of the people your age are city girls and Migos all day. So for you guys to be having conversations about breaking generational curses, dope.
And that's the thing too. It's conversations that we've always had. It just hasn't been publicized. And I think that it needed to be kind of maybe put on a bigger platform of these are conversations that Black men and Black women are having on a regular basis. It's just that I think the media tends to put out the nonsense more than anything. So I don't think that these conversations are as taboo as people think. I think people are having them a lot. It's that people would rather hear the nonsense and the things that might be on, I don't know, the Shade Room or Baller Alert or what's going on in celebrity gossip and different things like that, rather than the conversations about real things that affect our community.
True.
So Johnny, as an additional question to what Shar's point was, how are you reaching your demographic? How are you reaching the community of the millennials to be able to share with them?
Yeah. So I think one of it is just I have a tremendous circle, and I think that the support that I've gotten with just promoting different lives and different content. People have really been going hard for me and just like reposting stuff and spreading the word and telling a friend to tell a friend. So a lot of it has been leaning on, you know what I'm saying, just my friend circle and the people that I'm cool with that I've met either growing up or through college or through fraternity or working for different organizations. So that's been really huge. And I think that some of the content has just been really relatable to people. So people, even if they don't know me personally, they're like, I want to check this out because I'm interested in the topic. But I would say other than that, I have a ton of friends that just work in different industries and come from all different walks of life. And I think having that diversity of a friend group, it helps with reaching different demographics as well. So I know like a lot of the stuff that I want to do is working with the youth and helping kids with their transition from like high school to college and college into corporate America or whatever they want to do in their futures. So like I have a lot of friends that actually work in higher ed. So that's, you know what I'm saying, like just like a good point to be able to see how do I reach those kids or where can I find them and what's the best way to get the information over to them. So yeah, it's definitely been a learning process and kind of trial and error and just having those conversations to see like what can I do to make sure that I'm reaching the demographics I'm trying to hit.
Yeah. That's what's up, Johnny. Thank you again for joining us. And just in your introduction about yourself, I just want to say thank you for what you're doing for our community and also for young Black men, passing on that torch. And there was a few things that resonated for me because you know, I grew up in playing sports and, you know, doing recreational activities as a youth. And my father was very instrumental in being a head coach while he was working a 9 to 5, you know, worked 35 years and still provided for his family and coached. And now he's retired, enjoying the best life. So I just want to say that for a young man like yourself to take on that job, because it's not a burden, it's a blessing, right? To be able to pass on that torch and share sports, because sports is the greatest teacher for a lot of young men, especially a lot of young Black men. But I like how you're using the outlet to not focus on their attributes as sports or athletes, but you're using it and twisting it to turn into opportunity for them. So my question is for you is, what is your vision after once we get out of COVID, to help a lot of these young men? Because I feel like they need a lot of direction and they listen to like-minded young men like ourselves that can connect with them.
Yeah. And I appreciate all the kind words as well. And as somebody that grew up playing multiple sports, I see that it made me a much better person in multiple ways. And for somebody that didn't grow up with an active father in my life, I'm thankful for the sports that I played because it put other positive male role models in my life, like white or Black, where I had like that male leadership where I didn't just have to depend on being raised by my mother to teach me both roles, but I had other positive males that were in my life through sports, whether it be the coaches or just my friends' fathers that I'm saying coming back and forth between games or hanging out after practice or whatever case may be. So I'm thankful for that platform that sports provided me, which is dropping a lot of gems that I probably wouldn't have learned if I was just in the house playing video games. But also having the opportunity to work for two different sports organizations. I started my career working with the Philadelphia 76ers and I'm now working with the Washington Wizards. I've been able to use that platform and transition it to get kids a lot more involved with having these discussions about real things that they're going to do. So they see me, I work for the team, I get to be around certain players, I'm at the games, and then that intrigues them. They want to ask questions about that. And then I transition that to like, all right, what do y'all want to be when y'all grow up? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does this make you feel? Like, how do you feel when this happens? Like, you know what I'm saying? What are you going through right now? And what do you need help with? So I think that it's just a smooth transition to talk about some of the real things, especially from a younger age. I did like a speaking engagement a few months ago at a middle school in Tennessee. And I was talking to, I think it was 6th graders. And it was amazing to me. Like first they just had like a bunch of questions like, have you met Jordan? Have you met LeBron? Have you met Kobe? It was like that type of stuff. And then they started asking real questions, which I was so surprised because of just their intellect from a 6th grader, where they was like, have you experienced racism? Like, how do you feel about the Black Lives Matter movement? How early did you know like what you wanted to be when you grew up? And it was like such like profound, like real genuine, intentional questions. And I was like, wow, like this is amazing. So it's like that process of talking to kids and building up our youth, it starts so early. Like we have to get to it so early because they are inquisitive. Like they do have, you know what I'm saying, that mindset where like they want to learn as much as possible and they want to be a sponge and take those things in. So the more people you have pouring into them, I'm saying the better off they'll be. But like I want to continue to take this platform much bigger after the pandemic. Like because of the pandemic, we've been forced to do a lot of things virtually. Where I'm doing things on Zoom or, you know what I'm saying, on Instagram Lives and different things like that. But I really want to get to a place where it can be built into conferences and doing a lot more things in the community where we can have, you know what I'm saying, these barbershop talks or something like The Shop where we can bring a bunch of young men together and have dope conversations and put other people around them and really have like some roundtable discussions about how we can make them better individuals and how we can all grow from those conversations. So I would say like transition like these conversations from a virtual platform to in person where you can touch like a lot more people and then have the impact where you're talking face to face with people. I think that connection is a lot different. Like I think you can still reach people through a virtual platform, but when you have that conversation face to face, it just hits different for a lot of people. But that's the goal, to just really take it from something that's on a virtual platform to something where we can physically touch a lot more people and just like make a bigger impact.
Well, I really enjoy what you've been saying, especially with talking with the youth. And sometimes they do ask the real questions that are unexpected. And I recall as a youth myself, not really knowing what I wanted to be when I grew up, right? And so I've done a lot of things from cutting hair to record company to working for the federal government to production. And it's like, in life, we realize that we are going to fail no matter what we set our goal at or how high we set our goal. But the thing is that we can never give up.
I like that.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is just compel me to even just have that type of speech right now, to never give up. And how do you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, one of the quotes that I resonate with my organization is to have the ambition to succeed with the strength to overcome failure. And it's one of those things that, like, when it comes to just growing as a young man, as a young woman, you're gonna face failure. You're gonna face adversity. It's inevitable. And it's not about the failure that you go through, it's how you bounce back from it. And realizing that, like, there's a lot of people that come from our community that we're not born with silver spoons in our mouth. We're not born with the perfect situation of a path to success or whatever that looks like. So you have to go through some things to get there. And I think like that adversity that you go through, it makes you appreciate the success a lot more later on down the line, because you know what it took to get there, and you know that what you had to defeat or overcome or learn or unlearn some things to be able to get to where you are. So like I think it's when you're younger, you hate the process, but I think as you get older, you appreciate the process and you love it even more because it kind of defines who you are, and like not just like getting the success, but also having the strength to keep it, which I think you can get success, but learning how to keep it is much different. So I think going through some things, it kind of just makes your body a lot tougher to go through things later on.
Right.
I think you have an old soul, because I still hate the process.
I'm learning to appreciate the process. I appreciate some processes like more than others. Like as much as I'm an advocate for health and working out, like even running, once you get to like that second or third mile, I'm like, yeah, I really don't feel like doing this. I'd much rather be at Pizza right now, get my grub on. But you know what I mean? But it's just a part of the process, man.
Now, I feel you. Speaking of, so I saw that you have started like a run group within Breaking the Cycle. So how did that get started?
So
and how come I haven't been tapped? Actually, no, I have gotten tapped.
You have. So
stop
it. I'm gonna stop you right there.
My bad.
I'm gonna stop you right there because you definitely have been shouted out and forced to tap in. But to be honest, it started in the summertime during the pandemic because the gyms was closed. And I feel like all of us was really just in the house, eating our life away and watching Netflix. So I say like eventually things are gonna open back up. And as somebody who is a lover of suits and dressing up, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to fit any of my clothes when we come out this pandemic. And I'm not buying a whole new wardrobe, so it's gonna get wore regardless. So either I'm gonna look crazy or it's gonna fit the way it's supposed to. So the run challenge really started as just like accountability, to be able to try to get some type of health and wellness, during the pandemic as much as we could. But also it was just an outlet. I think that we was in the house so much and just in our computers, and I feel like during the pandemic, I think most jobs have you working a lot more than you usually do because they know that they have access to you and know that they can reach you at the computer at any given time. So it was like I was just in front of my computer all day, every day, and just watching the sun go down. So I was like, all right, I need to get outside. I need some fresh air. I need to find something to do that just keeps me sane, even if it's just me running outside for 30 minutes. So I really started the run challenge just as some like accountability of like, all right, what's going to force me to make sure that I'm running every day, and then setting a goal and looking at the little chart and then being like, all right, so-and-so got 10 more miles than me. Like I need to catch up before the weekend ends to get closer. So it just became like a friendly competition, like just to stay healthy.
So I had a chance to, once again, this is, I got to use my word phenomenal real quick. I got to drop it. Phenomenal.
We got to get you a shirt, friend. We really got to get you a shirt.
Yeah, we got to do that for sure. Looking at your platform and going over it this morning, I was looking at one of the things that resonated with me is the definition of a man. And, using your platform and all the things that Black men, and working in the higher ed space, I actually had the chance to take part in a webinar series earlier this week where two Black men discussed the things that we go through in society. It's the surveillance of Black men, the masculinity, the some of the microaggressions that we go through, and some of the generational trauma, right? So when you outline the definition of a man, primarily a Black man, how do we get through what we're currently going through right now as Black men, getting ready for a new year? What are some of the things that you are teaching the youth, and also men, all men, regardless of their age?
That's a heavy question. I think the biggest thing for me, and the biggest thing that I try to put on other people is it's okay to be transparent and it's okay to be vulnerable. And knowing that transparency and that vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you less than. It doesn't make you. It shouldn't make you feel like that you're inadequate. And that the things that you're facing, there's a ton of people that are facing those same things. And when I say the transparency and vulnerability, I say that it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to feel like that you're a little bit overwhelmed and, you need a minute to decompress, or, take a walk or step away from a certain situation. And I think that as men, especially Black men, we're raised to not show emotion, to not show any fear, to never be rattled. And I think that it's that you've been kind of raised in, and you've seen all around you. And you've seen other people get destroyed, whether it be through the internet or in person, for showing emotion. You almost have a guard up at all times where you don't want to let that wall down. And I think that it has to come to a point where you have to be comfortable in your own skin, and realizing that you are human, that you're going to go through things, good or bad. And then hopefully you have a circle around you where you feel comfortable enough where you can have those conversations and let that go. Because if you don't let it go, it's a very heavy burden. And you have to have some type of outlet to be able to have those conversations. And that could be with a parent, that could be with one of your best friends, that could be with your girlfriend, that could be with a teacher. But you have to find some type of outlet where you can express those things, because you don't, it'll kill you and it'll eat you up inside. And the thing that I've noticed as I've gotten older is that when you harbor those emotions for things that you're going through in your life, it comes out in other areas of your life as those microaggressions. It comes out as that anxiety in other areas of your life and that stress, and it pours into your relationships, your work environment, how you act on, maybe sports, excuse me, on sports teams, or, just in other areas of your life, and it comes throughout your pores and you don't even know where it's coming from, is because you haven't dealt with certain situations that have gone on in your life. So that's something that I've noticed a lot more as I've gotten older, and something I'm still growing through. Like I'm definitely not perfect. I'm a work in progress like everybody else. But just realizing that as a Black man, it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to be vulnerable. And if anybody tells you that it's not okay, saying they're dead wrong, and that's maybe somebody that you need to take out of your circle.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys.
No, I was just going to say, no, I appreciate you kind of elaborating on that. And another thing, too, I took away from that also, you talked about it earlier, it's the imagery of us. And Shar shared something yesterday where one of the rappers, I think it was Lil Baby, and we're so enamored with the fame, where the having the this and having that, and it doesn't bring you true happiness. And I feel like a lot of times some of the platforms that are geared, you know what I'm talking about now, right?
Yeah.
Some of the things that are portrayed in the media, I feel like doesn't help our community, especially Black men. And I know you just talked about now the Shade Room, Baller Alert. I feel like sometimes, even for Black women, some of the things that are portrayed, it doesn't help. And I feel like we need to highlight more of men, Black men that are doing things like you're doing, right? Things that we're doing as a collective on our podcast. I think we need to have more of that, because what happens is society puts us all in a box, and those stereotypes. It's like, oh, well, and then they're surprised at the fact that you have the accomplishments that you have and you're giving back to your community. They take away from what Antonio has accomplished doing what he's doing for his community. They take away what Shar is doing for her community and what I'm doing. And we need to have more of those things, because I was having this conversation of, I'm kind of tired of seeing us as Black people being the first all the time and not just being part of the collective of just doing what is needed. It's like, we've been here for 400 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, we have these abilities. We don't have to be the first all the time. Just highlight the fact that we're doing it and we're proud to do it, but they rather show us in the light where we're buying the brands and we're out here disrespecting our own and just doing the most. And it doesn't help in the climate that we're in right now.
But I think you also need to realize like where that comes from, because we need to, as a society, we need to realize that there is nothing externally that will heal us internally. So you can buy all the chains, you can have all the best suits, clothes, sneakers, cars, houses, women, whatever. There's nothing externally that is going to heal you internally. And those external things, that it might be a small satisfaction that you'll have that'll make you happy for now.
Right.
But when it comes to the things that internally like just bring you peace or bring you happiness, you're not going to get that. And that's why you see that you'll still have celebrities super stressed out or contemplating suicide, or, you know what I'm saying, really going through all these different things. And you wondering, like, you're rich, you have this, you have that, you have the fame, you have the glitz and the glam. Like, why your life should be perfect? And their life is not perfect, because money isn't I'm saying the cure to happiness. So I think a lot of people need to do like some deep diving and find out like what truly brings them peace, what truly makes you happy, what makes you what makes you an individual, you know what I'm saying? What makes you Shar or Amir or Antonio? Like what actually makes you you, what makes you happy, and then try to like focus on that. Because if you focus on the glitz and the glam or trying to catch up with the local celebrity and getting what they got, I mean, you're never gonna catch up. You're not. And I think that's something that we need to realize more and more. And people try to find value in those things, because it's instant gratification when you post a picture and you're on vacation, or you're on somebody's yacht, or if you got like a new fit on or something, and then you immediately get a reaction of like, all right, you know what I'm saying, people are showing me love, and then people they hold on to that. So if the only way that you're getting shown love is through like those things that you have that's very materialistic, you have like a false representation of I'm saying who you are as a person, and what really makes you you. Like I seen a meme probably like a while ago, and it was just like who are you off of Instagram? You know what I'm saying? Like if your Instagram was to delete today, like, you know what I'm saying, would you be just as popular without the likes, without the filters and all the other type of stuff? Like, would you still be just as cool, just as popular? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, they wouldn't, because their satisfaction is, I know a ton of people that make like over 100K, 150K on the gram that got like 300 followers. They post something on the gram, they get like 20 likes. You know what I mean? They are not, you know, popping, quote unquote, on the gram. But in real life, they that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like they that girl. You know what I mean? So like I think that people need to stop holding on to the things that, you know what I'm saying, really don't matter at the end of the day and start working on themselves.
So in addition to that, when we talk about healing internally, like a lot of us need a spiritual foundation, right?
Yeah.
Without our spiritual sense and our spiritual foundation, then we lack a lot of things in our lives. So once you take the material things away from a person that does not have even though we're all babes in Christ, if you follow Christ, we're all babes, so we're not all knowing, but we still need that spiritual sense, so we have things to draw to when we have difficult times in our lives. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
From. And also, I think what you're saying, like, I know did you guys grow up watching BET, right?
Yeah.
So there used to be a show called Teen Summit.
That might be before Johnny's time. That's my generation.
I'm 31. I definitely know about
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Okay, so to what you're doing is to me equivalent to a Teen Summit.
Yeah.
And I feel like when society, right? I feel like our society, because we have Black entertainment television. Now I'm all about inclusivity, right? But Black entertainment television was for a demographic, a specific demographic. Now without this tool, we don't have this communication going forward. We don't have these images going forward. And so it's like it's a hindrance to us. You know what I'm saying? So this is why what you're doing is, and even all of the fraternities, all of the churches, all the people in the community that's working, but we need a bigger scale of a Teen Summit type to kind of redirect the energies of this youth.
Yeah, I agree. I think representation definitely matters. So when you see stuff like that on a bigger platform, I won't say like it almost makes it cool. I think it makes it okay or acceptable, where people are sometimes a lot more open to it. So I think that's what I try to do with my platform, where I have people on there that like there were certain topics that I could have brought, like somebody that might have been older in their 40s or 50s that have been doing the work for, you know what I'm saying, the last 20 years, and you know what I'm saying, could probably drop some amazing gems. But I thought that it would hit more if it came from people that were around my age.
Oh yeah.
Because it makes it more realistic. Like I did a program called Black Marriage, and it was basically like talking about marriage from the Black male perspective, and saying the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I had some couples that I could have pulled on that have been married for a minute, but I thought it would hit different if I had some people, like some of my friends who were married for not even a year yet. Like one of my friends that was on there, my boy Rob, he's been married. I was in his wedding. His wedding was like maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And then I had, you know what I'm saying, other people that I'm cool with that have been married from anywhere from a year to 3 years. So I think it just hit different because it's like, all right, people look at marriage like, yeah, those are for people that, you know what I'm saying, were born in a certain time and they've been together for the last 30, 40 years. And, you know what I'm saying, the times were so much different and love was so much different back then, or the things they went through was so much different. I can't really relate to it. So like having people on there that like, no, this is real. Like I got married last year. Like we both went to schools that you went to. We, you know what I'm saying, both go through the same things. We both got similar jobs to what you go through. Like it's, you know what I'm saying, everything is relatable. So I think it just hits different and makes it be like, all right, maybe that is attainable. You know what I'm saying, seeing young Black men talk about marriage, like then you could think like, all right, maybe marriage is a possibility for me. You're seeing young Black men talk about mental health, like, all right, maybe I can go to a therapist and that doesn't make me less than. Or seeing young Black men talk about, you know what I'm saying, what being a man is and what that looks like. All right, maybe it is okay for me to be a gentleman or act like this in this space or act like that in that space. So I think it's just about representation and making it okay to have these conversations and act different maybe from the people that are around you, because it's not the cool thing to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and as a PSA, Black men being vulnerable is sexy AF. Like I've dated different types of Black men, and there's nothing like a man who's your partner who you can show up and create safe space for, who will be completely vulnerable and transparent with you. Like that is the best vibe ever.
It's fun hearing you say that though, because that's not always the experience.
Right.
Like I've dated women where being somewhat vulnerable or putting your heart in your sleeve and showing emotion, it was looked at like you doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like you always complaining about something, or say it's not even that serious. Like you thinking too deep. Like that's how it was looked at. And I've had, you know what I'm saying? I have my next live is going to be about mental health, but I've had conversations with other women about some of the lives that I've had and just talking about Black men and vulnerability and showing emotion and stuff like that. And like they've told me that like in previous relationships, it made me realize that I have been kind of like that toxic person that didn't create a safe space for my man, but I required that he keep a safe space for me. So it's funny to hear women talk about it now, like, oh, like Black men being vulnerable is so sexy. Oh my God, like I love it, I need it, yeah. Like, and I'm just like, yo, like that's not always our truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I'm saying, emotion was not always the cool thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say this. Like my healing journey began years ago. So like I was a proponent for therapy before it became popular, before it became a hashtag. So doing the work on myself and learning and becoming comfortable with my own emotions, because I'm a water sign, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm extremely emotional. So normalizing my emotions for me, yeah. So normalizing my emotions for myself made it easy for me to identify it in my partner. And knowing that in some relationships, when like, not to be too transparent, but my last long-term relationship, my ex was extremely uncomfortable with my tears. And I'm like, yo, if I can't express myself to you, then who can I express myself to? Yeah. So I think from that perspective of knowing what it felt like to have to shut down emotionally for a partner just so that they could feel comfortable, I could not be that for my partner. Like I have to be a safe space for him.
That's dope.
Yo, but it's funny that you say that, because and just putting the shoe on the other foot for perspective purposes, there's a lot of men that feel the way that you have to shut down to make somebody else feel comfortable. There's a lot of Black men that feel that, like in a lot of relationships. Like we don't always have a space for us to be vulnerable and transparent, not even in our relationships. So it's just like if you think about it in retrospect, I understand why so many Black men are angry, because if they feel like they don't have a safe space in their relationships, they don't feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable around their friends, because it might make them look weak. They can't do it at work, you know what I'm saying? Like when they stress out about anything that's going on, whether they just hate their job or fighting to get the next promotion but getting passed over for it or anything like that. So it's like there's no spaces, not in sports, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no spaces really, unless like you really feel comfortable or somebody opens up that space for you to feel comfortable. So like imagine just how men could feel when you feel like, yo, I have so much stuff on my mind, but I can't release it. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it ends up getting released. Like you don't realize it, but it ends up getting released through just other actions of, you know what I'm saying, maybe you lashing out or having an attitude, or, you know what I'm saying, you being quick tempered to snap on somebody if something triggers you. It comes out in other ways, but not in a healthy way though.
For sure.
Sometimes it comes out in sex when you boning your girl, you know what I'm saying?
Honestly, that's a real thing. That's a real thing, because that could be that person's coping mechanism for dealing with all the things that he's dealing with in the outside world, and that's the only way that he can show that. That's a real thing.
No, it is. Well, I think from what we just captured here, we got to normalize seeking help as Black men. We got to normalize the fact that we seek a wife. You know, we in marriage, you know, having children and building a community, we have to normalize those things, and it doesn't have to be on a spotlight level. Just doing it and making it grow. So, like, shout out to the platforms that are on social media that showcase Black love, showcase Black men raising daughters and raising sons, because it's important that we do that. And even though, you know, I'm not there yet, I pray and plan to be there, but I think the vulnerability thing is important, and seeking help and seeking therapy, because I had to go through that journey with everything that's going on this year and working in the space that I'm in. I'm like, in order for me to be a better leader, these are the steps you have to take. I mean, you just can't sit there and bottleneck your emotions, because as we just, talked about here, your frustration can lead to people that truly love and care for you.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, on top of that, you've had a segment or an episode where you talked about Black marriage. So can you talk more about that? Is it a series, or, what's that about, especially being a man that's married?
Yeah, I'm not married.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I was the only person that was on there that.
Okay.
I was the only person that was on there that wasn't married.
Okay.
So I think for me, it was conversations that I was having with some of my boys, and just talking about relationships and marriage and what that looks like. And it kind of, I think that some people in the group, we kind of made it look like it was like this thing that just wasn't attainable. Like, it happens for some people, but it's just not going to happen for everybody. So I wanted to have just like a real deep conversation about like what that marriage looks like. And I feel like a lot of people make fun of me because I'm like in everybody's wedding. Like, if you follow me on Instagram, you're like, yo, you're in a wedding every month. Like, I'm always either the best man or a groomsman. They like, yo, you are always in somebody's wedding. So it's like, and then I also was starting to hear stories of like Black men aren't getting married, or if they do get married, like they're not marrying other Black women. And I'm just like I've been in a whole bunch of weddings and they all been Black men, Black women. So I'm just like, yeah, like that narrative, you might think it's true because that's what you see on social media, but like in my real life and my real friend circle, like that's my reality is like I've seen a bunch of Black men marrying Black women.
But Johnny, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but like you're an anomaly because you might be the exception only because your life is Black AF. You went to a HBCU, you live in the DMV, like you're East Coast, so like it's very Black out here.
But at the same time, like I'm from Jersey, so my mother is from Newark, New Jersey. My father's from Irvington. My father's from Newark, New Jersey. My mother's from Irvington, New Jersey. And when I was probably like 5 or 6, like we moved to Sayreville, and Sayreville is a part of Jersey that's like probably like 30 minutes from Newark, but extremely white. So like, you know what I'm saying? I was probably one of maybe 4 or 5 Black kids in my classes out of 30, you know what I'm saying, going to school. Like for the entire time that I went to middle school and high school. So like going to Del State was like a culture shock for me. Because I was like, I ain't never been around this much with Black people a day in my life. Like, I was like, this is lit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, it hasn't always been like that. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then going to grad school at Georgetown, I went right back to what I was used to because I was one of, 3 or 4 Black people that was in most of my classes. So it hasn't always been, you know what I'm saying, Black AF, you know what I mean? But I think it's just knowing how to maneuver in those spaces is super important.
It's dope.
Damn, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about before?
I'm sorry, my bad.
But when it comes to Black marriage, so I just wanted to have like a transparent conversation to see like what that looks like, to make sure that it looks attainable for other people. And I think that people think that when people get married, it's like this relationship of perfection, and they never go through anything. And I think that it was important for me to showcase that, like, yeah, like the wedding is lit and people are having fun, but then you still have the work of learning your partner and growing with them year after year, you know what I'm saying, through adversity after adversity, through good thing, bad thing, indifferent, whatever. And especially like during a pandemic, like my boy just got married like a couple of months ago, and like they're going through a whole pandemic right now. So like their marriage is very, very different, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like they get married and then they have the honeymoon and then they get to go back to work, and it's like they do their 9 to 5 and come home and love up on each other and all that. But like now it's like you married and I'm just stuck in a house with the person 3 feet away from you while they on Zoom, you on Zoom, and y'all stay in each other all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like, what does that look like? So I just wanted to talk about like the different dynamics of people that, you know what I'm saying, some of those people that was on the Black marriage was high school sweethearts, college sweethearts. Some people, they were engaged for, you know, or together for a couple of years. One of my boys, like he was with his girl from the time that they started college. So they was together for almost a decade before they got married. So just like what that looks like and realizing that like it's gonna look different for a lot of people. So I think that when it comes to marriage, like it's just not this taboo thing where it's just like it only happens for some people. I think we all have the capacity to do it. It's just a matter of we're willing to put the work in to make it happen.
That's what's up. So I don't know if you talked about it. When did you start your platform? Was it pre-pandemic? I don't know if that's a word. That's probably a word.
Yeah. So I started it, I want to say, as far as like the first live that I did, I want to say it was in June.
Of this year?
Yeah, it was June of this year.
We got something in common. That's the anniversary of the Convo Lounge as well. So
yeah. So it was in June. So I got like everything together before that with just creating the LLC and all that other good stuff. But yeah, I actually just started this year. So it's been it's been interesting. It's definitely been fulfilling. I didn't think that it would be. Let me take that back. I knew it was gonna be like a lot of work, but I think that I underestimated the amount of work it was gonna be, because it's just different when it's like your name is on it and it's your baby and you care about it so much. Right. It's like, yeah, like I got to put all this time and energy. So it'll be sometimes that I'm like working on content or planning stuff for 2021, and I'm next thing you know, I look at the clock and it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I've just been on the computer Googling stuff, working on stuff in Excel sheets, and you know what I'm saying, thinking of different topics to come up with. So you realize you just put like a different type of attention on it than you do like your regular 9 to 5. So it's definitely been interesting.
That's what's up, man.
I have a question for all three of you guys. Just thinking back to the conversation we had about Black women being a safe space for Black men. What advice would you give to our female listeners about what they can do to be a safe space for their partners or future partners?
I'll let y'all lead that.
I think for me is being open-minded and listening to us when we're speaking, when we go through the things that we go through, whether it's on the job or experiences that we go through from our past or even in our present, and the people that we encounter. So just listening and trying not to ask questions on why we feel this way or trying to sway the conversation to something else. I think that one of my biggest things is my love language is words of affirmation. So for me, it's keeping that positive vibe and keeping that teamwork and that camaraderie. But I think for me is when one of the things I seek in my future wife and someone I'm dating is, can you understand and comprehend what I'm explaining to you? And are you listening enough to where you can kind of assess and give me feedback that's going to be critical for me to get through what I'm going through right now, to navigate through it. So I think that's important. But I've been in situations where it's like, well, why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's like, you're not helping me with the situation. So then what happens is we close ourselves off, and then we probably look at it as, you know what, I'm cool on this particular type of woman. Or some men may say, I'm not dating, you know, that particular, I'll go out and just say it. I'm not dating Black women because of so-and-so. I'd rather date blah, 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 because they can, but for me, I think it's really important to just be open-minded and listening. I think the biggest takeaway that we can get from this is when we as Black men are talking about the things that we're going through and we're being vulnerable, whether it's the emotions on the outside, right? Whether it's going in detail about what we're going through, I think it's important for Black women to be that healer, because that's basically what you guys are. You guys are that. You guys are. We count on you to be that rock, right? And if you can't be that rock, then I gotta get you up out the phone. I gotta scratch you out. That's where I'm coming from. So that's what I search for in a mate. In my future wife. That's what I want. Strong, strong, strong.
But sensitive too.
And sensitive too, and also a prayer warrior too. A prayer warrior. I need a woman that can pray with me. That's important.
Facts.
So in my case,
I do I have to brace myself, Antonio?
yeah, you do. No, you good.
Okay.
Yourself on mute.
So in my case, it backfired on me. So this is kind of how we have like two sides of the spectrum, right?
Mhm.
Where I was young and I didn't have emotional intelligence, right? So basically, being that person at that time, I was going through family challenges, and my significant other was there with me the whole time. She was right by my side. So the challenge backfired on me, and then I apologized to my significant other, and she looked at me and said, "Well, why are you telling me all this?" So I was just like blown out the water because I felt like I had failed my relationship and I had my internal family issue going on. So now at this age, I know that I have a greater level of emotional intelligence and I do not internalize like I used to. So my goal moving forward is to continue to do less internalizing and build my emotional intelligence, also my spiritual sense, right? Being able to pull from everything that I received by being in church and by studying the Bible and by receiving advanced degrees and developing as a man. And so now, when a woman says something to me, it's either, take it or leave it at this point. So that's just where I'm at with it.
But how can a partner be a safe space for you? What does that look like for you?
So no matter what she says, I'm able to handle it. But as she is able to be receptive, right? Because a lot of people are negative, right? Mm-hmm. And so I try to be on a higher frequency when it comes to positivity and negativity. I do not like to be around negativity, right? So because a safe space is because I can't tell someone who to be for me, right? We kind of find that. You know what I'm saying? We kind of find who we are. We kind of find how we gel together. We kind of find that chemistry. So like-minded, equally yoked, that kind of creates the safe space. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So we just hoping that she was raised right. She know right from wrong. And she, you know what I'm saying? There's like those type of things that, because I can't really pinpoint what the safe space is because it's just, you can't really pinpoint in my opinion.
So I wanted to add something to what you're talking about too, though. I think when you're in a relationship, there's steps. And I think that support comes from sharing as well. So going through things that, in building that foundation, whether it's taking personality tests or going through, therapy or whatever the case is, if you are sharing things together, whether it's praying over the phone, whatever it is that you can build upon, then that also helps bring the frequency to a higher level. And, whether it's taking a personality test or whatever the case is, I think that's important. And then it goes both ways too, though. You feel me? It has to go both ways. You got to be
transparency. That would speak to like transparency of both parts. Mm-hmm. Right. And right. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable, right? I'm not afraid. And so I would just hope that the woman, because sometimes a lot of women are very strong, like strong in the sense that they aren't caring, and they are so strong because some of us have been through a lot, so it's kind of hard for us to open up. A lot of people are guarded. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying, in that regard, so it kind of makes it difficult. So the transparency, people have to be willing, and I think that's a great point as well, just being the willingness to be with your partner and be there for your partner. You know what I'm saying, in that regard.
But I feel like I haven't forgotten about you, Johnny, but I just wanted to piggyback off of what Antonio said. I feel like there's a level of the Bible. So I'm a Christian. The Bible talks about being equally yoked. And outside of spirituality, equally yoked means, for me, the gamut on health, wellness, how you manage your finances, your day-to-day, your emotional intelligence, it's not just spirituality, it's your communication as well. So I can't be with somebody who's not on one accord with me and where I am. Like I personally right now in my journey could not be with a man who just checks boxes. Like you have to be an evolved, conscious, like person who's willing to do the work and heal your trauma in order for me to even entertain a conversation with you. Like that's just where I'm at. So like I can't do toxic. And what I'm hearing is, yes, a lot of women are strong, but strong can be a toxic trait because women also have to realize there's a resilience with you as well. You know what I mean? Like there's no such thing as being knocked down and you can't get back up. Like God created very resilient beings. The same way the seasons change and you see them shed their leaves and then, you know, they bud again. That's the natural evolution of life for every being on this earth.
Right.
So when you hear a woman say, I'm strong, I can't that's toxic. Run away fast. If she's not willing to process whatever it is she's going through, she ain't it. She's not it. That's a cop out.
I don't think that strength is necessarily toxic. I think that strength is a lot of times a defense mechanism for trauma. And I think that a lot of women and men feel that they need to be strong because of other situations that they've been through where they felt defenseless and they just had to take whatever was being thrown at them. So like now they have to be strong because they don't want to put themselves in situations that they might have been in before. So they feel like that they need to get in front of it and put up this facade or wall of being strong, so like they can block all the BS that might come at them. So I don't think strength is always a toxic thing. I think that you just have to see like where that strength is coming from, because sometimes people are just naturally strong, and then some people like are strong because they feel like they have to, because they feel like if they're vulnerable or if they do show their true self, or if they do show that transparency or do allow somebody else to lead, then they feel like that somebody's going to let them down. So you just have to see like where that strength is coming from at the end of the day.
And that's where the conversation, you gotta have conversation. You gotta have in-depth chats with your partner. You gotta talk to them and figure out why are you having this wall? Why are you like this? And if they're putting up that wall, then how can you get through to them? You can't get through a wall. You're going to crash and it's going to implode on you. And what happens is that the relationship implodes. So I think it's important, especially like I've been in relationships where there's arguments over like the smallest thing. And then it turns into something huge because then other things get brought up, right? So I think it's important when both individuals, the man and the woman, take down their walls. And let's just we're adults. There's no need to be petty in a relationship. And I think it's extremely important when you go through that. So thank you, Shaw, for for giving us men, us black men.
We need to hear Johnny, though. We need to hear what Johnny got to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Oh, okay. I thought Johnny.
Come on, Mr. Breaking the Cycle.
Got away with not going.
Hey, let's go. It's on you, bro.
Come on, Mr. Breaking the Cycle. Come on.
So I'm gonna say two things. I think that for one, it's important to not only know your partner's love language, but I also think that, because I think that we often we know, you need to know like what their love language is, as far as like how they give love and how they receive love. I think that's very important, because I think that we often, like my love languages are words of affirmation and acts of service. So I might, think that me writing a note from my girl before she leaves work, or sending her an inspirational text because she has like a big day or a promotion or a meeting or something, or getting her oil change or something like that, those are things that I might want. So I'm doing that for her, but her love language might be something totally different. So like, while I'm doing that for her, and then I feel like that she's not appreciating what I'm doing, it's not that, it's just not hitting the way it would if I was catering to what her actual love language is, which could be something else. It could be physical touch or, you know what I'm saying, or something different. So I think that's super important of knowing not only how you give love, but how your partner receives love, and being on the same page when it comes to that. But also, I think that you have to have conversations about your blueprint of how you look at your partner. So when I say that, it's like, all right, how do you define what a man is? How do you define what a woman is? How do you define what a good wife is? How do you define what a good husband is? And for a lot of people, that blueprint comes from their parents or their grandparents, or relationships that they've seen in their community, or things that they've seen on TV, like the Huxtables or the Wayne and Whitley on A Different World, or all these, you know what I'm saying, different things that they put together in pieces to like what the perfect relationship or man or woman looks like. And you have to see like what that blueprint looks like, because a lot of times I think people are trying to live up to expectations that aren't realistic sometimes. So like if I'm married and I expect my woman to be the spitting image of Claire Huxtable, that's just not gonna happen. She's not Claire Huxtable. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not her. Like they have two different lifestyles. They grew up differently. They had different experiences. Like, so I have to figure out like what makes you, and you need to figure out what makes me, and then we need to cater to that and have a conversation around it. So I think knowing how to pour into your partner is super, super important. And you have to make sure that you guys are both pouring on each other and not draining each other. So I think like those things alone create the safe space where you feel like you can have those conversations and feel like you're not going to be judged or looked down upon because I'm not living up to the expectations of what you thought, you know what I'm saying, was a good man or a good woman or a good boyfriend or a good girlfriend. But actually like, all right, what do you bring to the table? And then how can we make sure that those specific set of skills or those attributes, how we make that better, instead of like me expecting that you about to be some other person that you're not.
That's true.
What's that?
The 5 love
languages. Yep. And the interesting thing about that is I took that test. I took the test in college, and then I took it recently, like maybe like a year ago or something, and they were different.
Same.
So that's the interesting part, where through, you know what I'm saying, through just experiences and growth and changes and things that, you know what I'm saying, you might think is late or things that you really want or need now, could be totally different than what you want a decade from now. Because I think at that time my love language was like, I feel like it was like gifts, and I think it was like physical touch or something. And now like those are like really the two last things on my list now. Well, now it's words of affirmation is first, and then acts of service is second. So it's just funny how it changes.
And and for me, it's more of the quality time. And I think, as a matter of fact, for all of our listeners, we're going to drop the 5 love languages test in there, so that, you know, we encourage you guys to take that. But I think right on par, Johnny. I think if we were to take it now during this pandemic, it might change, you know, as well.
Right.
Because you don't have that experience of the physical touch. You don't have that experience of connecting emotionally, or spending quality time with someone. So yeah, no, it's a wonderful thing when you can take time to take time.
Yeah,
it's very simple.
That's the fact.
It's as simple as that.
So what I'm hearing, I'm sorry, go ahead, Antonio.
Real quick, one of the greatest strengths that we'll ever have in our lives is our ability to deal and adapt to change.
Facts.
That's big facts. That's big facts. So just to sum it up for our lady listeners, if you are receptive, you're pouring into, and you're open to be poured into. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did.
You're listening. Pouring into. Okay.
You good?
Okay. Thank you. Gosh, now Amir's was be curious enough to find out the why.
Yeah,
instead of
and taking those walls down and just listening to us as Black men when we're pouring out, as you mentioned, pouring out the information that we're going through, whether it's on the job or experiences or something that happened to us, because you want us to do the same thing. When you walk in the door, you call us and whatever it is. But I think just being receptive and being open and just not turning off the energy that was there because I shared something that was critical that I was going through. And it can be a huge turn off. It can disrupt the frequency.
Yeah. And for everybody, just listen to understand. Your friends, partners, family members, everybody, listen to understand.
That's good.
No doubt.
Well, thank you so much, Johnnie, for joining us. Before we let you go, there's something that we typically do when we open the show, but I forgot. So I got the question of the day. Would you like to participate?
Absolutely. Let's get
it. So the question of the day is more of a would you rather, right? So we're all, I'm assuming we're all not married. I'll say that. We're all not married.
Right.
We don't have kids. So would you rather date someone with a bad kid or with a crazy ex?
Oh, man.
I'm going to go ahead and say the bad kid because a crazy ex could haunt and disturb situations. I think with the bad kid, as a man, and Johnnie, I'm curious to know what you're going to say with this, but I think what's the definition of a bad kid, right? Because I think, you know, Johnnie and I, and even Antonio, we grew up playing youth sports, right? So what is the reasoning behind that? You know, and I'm assuming here that there can be a lot of factors that contributing to the kid being bad, and what does that mean? Is there a problem in school? Is there a disconnect? Is there maybe the father was never around, and that's where it starts from? So I think it's where, as men, we step up, and it goes to what Johnnie's Breaking the Cycle series talks about with dads versus fathers, right? So that's where you have to say, okay, what's the difference between the two? Am I going to be a father to this young man, or am I just going to be the dad that's just like, yeah, you got a roof over your head and the lights is on? Or am I going to be a father that's going to be like, hey man, you know, let me buy you a video game. Let's hang out and play this video game, or let's hang out and catch a ball game. Let's, you know, go fishing or go golfing, spend quality time, because that may be the area that breaks the cycle of the things that happen to a lot of young kids, especially young Black kids as well. I know, you know, Johnnie explained to it, you don't have to have a father in your life to be, there can be other father-like figures, right? Whether it's your uncle or a cousin. I know for me, I was blessed to have my father around, you know, he's still around. I play golf with him on the weekend and chill out and chop it up with him. But I also have, you know, cousins and uncles that have also served that mentor type figurehead. So I think for me, I would definitely take the bad kid because of the family background and family dynamic that I have. I know my father will also, you know, embrace and help out. But I think the ex thing, nah, I'm straight. Nah, I'm good. I don't want that. I'm all about peace.
Amen. Namaste.
I'm the prosperous one. You know, I don't deal with the craziness.
Is it my go yet?
I can go. Do you have one?
I'm gonna go last.
Okay. Antonio, I don't want to.
All right. So I've been an uncle since I was 5. So I'm gonna be the best stepfather that kid ever had. And with the ex, I'm good. Like, we're gonna have to get a restraining order. So we all right.
I like it. You kept it 100 and you kept it simple.
Right. So I would opt for the crazy ex, to be honest with y'all, because with the kid may potentially have to live with us. I don't know what the custody is like. Like, the kid may have to live in my household full time or partially. So that being said, I would prefer the crazy ex because in my mind, eventually she'll find love and she'll not be crazy anymore. Or like maybe
That's
I could.
True.
Am I being too optimistic?
You're being super optimistic.
I'm good.
She might not be crazy anymore. Nah, she's still gonna be crazy. She got a whole boyfriend. She got a whole boyfriend and still be worried about what y'all doing.
Damn, Shar. Damn.
I was expecting you to say child, especially
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
if it's a baby girl, if it's a, you know, a young, you know, I don't know. I just, me knowing
I don't do well.
I can see you navigating more on the child, because I think with the village that you have
that's my vision. My vision is once this crazy ex sees how much her child loves me and like embraces me, maybe that will like soften her up so that she doesn't look at me as a threat. And I'm super duper friendly. Like I'm not trying to compete with her. I'm not trying to.
Oh hell no.
So I feel like she and I would be able to come to terms at some point. She might be crazy when we first meet, but it's not gonna always be like that.
I ain't trying to have no brother knock on my door. I ain't trying to have no brother confront the fact that I'm treating his ex in the way that he failed to do. I'd rather deal with a child because it's a child. Whether it's a girl or a boy, it's a child. They have no power over me. I'm an adult.
Listen, worst case scenario, she can come get the sage. She can come get the sage and this Palo Santo if she wants. She can come get this anointing oil. Like
okay, like that, huh?
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
The worst case scenario,
Mother
go
Char,
one way or the other.
Mother Char.
You annoyed her, huh?
Sure am.
So what I'm gathering here is the shirt that you're wearing is what you represent. Love thy neighbor.
Yep.
All right.
It don't say X.
Got it. Got it.
For sure.
It's all love. It's all love.
That's very big of you.
You can never fight hate with love.
Okay.
Like I find it, I don't think she might be crazy to his other exes, but when it comes to me, she's gonna be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm so hard to hate.
Nah, yeah, no doubt. But I don't know.
I'm giving myself too much credit.
I thought you was gonna go with the child. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, me too.
Nah.
All right, so all right, so child 2, ex. All right, Johnny, you gonna break the cycle, brother, or you gonna?
I'm not gonna lie. When y'all first asked the question, it almost sounded like, would you rather die by burning or drowning?
Wow.
Because either way, right? Either way.
It's like either way, it's gonna be a headache. I'm not gonna lie, yo. I'm kind of leaning towards the crazy ex.
Wow. All right.
So, cause I think it would all depend on the level of crazy of the ex, and then the age of the bad kid. Like, is this a bad kid that's like 7, or this is like a bad kid like he's 15 and think he's a grown man and try to square with me when I come to the crib.
Yeah, we're talking another story.
Yeah, so that dynamic I think would be a little different.
You ain't trying to be like Jody and Baby Boy.
Yeah, I ain't trying to put nobody in no headlocks. Yeah, that's such a hard question. I thought I was gonna really know my answer by the time y'all got through.
But you put more context into it, though. I feel you on that.
Yeah, I would certainly have questions. But I think I'll probably choose the crazy ex. Only because of the fact that where if I was dating somebody that had a kid, I think of course like I would try to be a positive male role model in his life if he doesn't already have one, but also thinking like it's not necessarily my responsibility to be that kid's father. You know what I mean? So like I can openly take on that responsibility, and a lot of people have, and like I applaud everybody that does it. But I just know that like for some people, it just may not be possible that you're gonna click with the kid.
True.
So I don't know. I think from it'll be the difference of dealing with something like head on that's like in your household every single day, and then the difference of like the exes from afar. So they might be sending crazy text messages and I don't know, just doing the most on social media and stuff like that. But
block.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of block it out. I would just hope that ain't no crazy ex like, yeah, I'm about to come kill you. Like that's what I'm saying. It's just levels.
Yeah,
it's levels.
I don't know.
Wow.
When you go into the levels, then I'm still probably leaning. Okay, so I guess also what if it's the child and then there's the crazy ex and you add that in there too? So I don't know. There's a lot of levels.
Yeah, and I say that maybe because like I know a situation where like somebody that has had a great stepfather in their life, and the kid just like continuously just acted out. Like I'm talking about like his real father wasn't really in his life, was kind of like in and out of jail. The connection or relationship like wasn't really there. And then his stepfather, like great job, takes care of his mom, and they have their own child together. Puts a good roof over their head, buys them all types of clothes and all that. And the kid just like don't mess with the stepfather at all. Like just don't bang with him. Like he just does his own thing. You know what I'm saying? Was kind of messing up here and there. And you keep trying to put good people around him and have pep talks and try to reward him when he does good. And it's just like, it wasn't happening. So like, of course, like we will love the story of like, yeah, he kind of takes his kid under his wing and, you know what I'm saying? It's just like a good feel-good story that could be on a sitcom or something like that. But it don't always work out that way. So I'm just thinking that like, dang, like that could be just like a crazy headache, like right in your house that you know, could eventually tear you and your partner apart. Because
and that kid lasts for the rest of y'all lives. Whereas the crazy ex will go somewhere eventually. Yeah. That kid is permanent.
I was going to say that the ex will phase out, but the kids are there long term.
Yeah,
exactly. So, I agree with that.
I still rock with the stepfather though, because the kid eventually gonna phase out too.
Oh yeah, I mean, you gotta go, young man. All right, you gotta get out there in the world.
I feel bad picking the ex now. Dang. done left.
Stay on the bright side. Stay on the bright side, Johnny. Stay on the bright side.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go through. Like I said, I don't think anybody necessarily wants to deal with either or.
True. Yeah.
That's a tough one. Y'all going to end the show like that?
No, that's not how we're ending the show. We got one more segment. We got a fun segment. We're gonna end on a high note.
All right.
So we got a segment called Sound Off, right? So you can sound off on whatever's going on. It could be current events. It can be anything that you want to sound off on. This is your time to do so. So if you want to think about it, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? But sound off is our segment. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off my sound off.
Okay.
You know, it's been a lot going on during this week in different areas in the Black culture, especially in hip hop. But I came across something this morning, and for all those out there, my man Boozy says he's going to officially sue Mark Zuckerberg for $20 million over his Instagram being shut down, and he claims it's discrimination. Bruh.
Dang.
First of all, I would have to find the video when it first started. I like to say it started like right around the summer, and you know there was people getting a little loose out there on Instagram. Boozy was one of them, and also Tory Lanez, and they felt the need to turn Instagram into Pornhub Live. And I don't want to quote what Boozy said, but he was in the barbershop haircut and. He said, put your you know what lives live on Instagram. I'll give you you know what amount of dollars.
Yeah, $1,000.
Huh?
So I'll give you $1,000.
Yeah, I'll give you $1,000. After that, it became a meme, and before you know it, boom, Boozy's kicked off on Instagram. So he goes on and he's like, tell Mark, and he didn't know how to pronounce Zuckerberg. He said, tell Mark Zuckerberg that I want my Instagram back, and I'm out here losing millions of dollars. So he feels the need to sue Mark Zuckerberg for $20 million. First of all, brother, I hope that all is well. I don't want to kick another brother down, but I think that if you feel that you're losing money because you don't have a blue check next to your name, why don't you just use that money and create your own platform to where you can go and do whatever you want to do? Don't spend your time and energy on suing a man that, first of all, has nothing to do with the reason why your blue check is going off of your Instagram. And there are policies that you sign and agree upon when you create an Instagram account. So you violated. So there is no way in hell that you are going to win a case, yet alone suing for the amount of money that you're suing for. You're basically wasting your damn time. So, brother, I hope that you, it was hilarious. We're definitely going to put the video on show notes, but bruh, let it go. Create your own type of, platform where you can do whatever you want. And if you feel like you're losing money because you don't have a blue check next to your name, I pray that you can get through that. But you reap what you sow. You can't be out there doing that. But Mark Zuckerberg has nothing to do with the fact that you are no longer on Instagram. So I hope you get well too, by the way, brother, because I know you got, he just had a situation that took place. So,
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's amazing to me that there's people that will legit take out a case to force somebody to do something that they don't want to do with their platform.
Right.
So like if I'm the creator of Instagram, like I created it, it's mine. And you're telling me that I can't do what I want with my platform. Like that just sounds crazy. Like if you're not being treated well on a platform, go to another platform.
Or another.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't, it's almost the same way of like if you don't like the way you're being treated in a restaurant, just don't go to that restaurant anymore. Right. You might like the food, but you know what I'm saying? If you don't like the way you're being treated, go elsewhere. So it's funny how like Boosie and Trump and all these other different people are like trying to, come at, these different social networks because they don't like the way they're being treated and they can't just do whatever they want on them. It's just like, it's not yours. Like you can't call the shots like when it's not yours. So that's just interesting to me. I think Instagram has became like such a part of our lives that people feel literally entitled that like, no, I'm supposed to have this or I need this so much. Like it's not yours, yo. Like just go somewhere else.
He's bugging out.
It's not a service. You don't pay for it. It's a completely free platform. You don't have the right.
$20
million, y'all. That's my sound off them.
Woo. God bless them.
So mine is a shout out. I want to shout out Belief in Fatherhood, who created this shirt. Love Thy Neighbor. This is from his Love Connection. And he too is breaking the cycle for Black males as he started his entire platform on vlogging his experience as a father, documenting his experience. And that has turned into 4 kids and Target deals, YouTube deals, him being on OWN with his wife, them having 2 successful podcasts. So shout out to Belief in Fatherhood.
Oh, that's dope. My sound off is LeVar Ball. 3 sons in the league. Very impressive.
What's the big deal? Can you guys tell me the big deal about that? Why is everybody so excited about it?
Well, in my opinion, it could be the first time it's ever happened.
Okay.
A Black father with 3 half-Black sons. Hasn't been an easy road, right? And as a result, they all made it to a certain level. So it could have been anything, right? It just happens to be basketball. He came from basketball. He's a sports family, and their plan worked. You know what I'm saying? Their plan worked. And so I feel like it's very impressive. Amir said it a while back. As a Black father, a lot of like my father was not in my life, or he was estranged, if you will, right? And I think that I was once a part of Project Fatherhood, is by the Children's Institute, and men in this world have greater opportunities just for the sake of having a relationship with their father. Statistics show, I have succeeded without my dad, but just imagine, if my dad was a very powerful person. So just imagine if he was able to steer me from 0 to 5 before I encountered trauma in my life. right? Where I would be today.
Mm.
But I didn't quit. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, LeVar had that example for his sons. Right or wrong, he was there. Right or wrong, they made it. I'm impressed. Well, not so much like how can I say? He's an idol for me. It's just a form of respect. Like I respect that man for standing in, being a black man in America, and from California, from Los Angeles. Like he overcame so many statistics as a black man, and then he see all his sons successful. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, you actually stole mine, so I'm gonna go with something else.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. I think that I want to shout out Charlemagne the God, because I think that he has made mental health something that is more talked about today than it has been in a long time. And I think the platform that he has, especially with dealing with hip hop and just like the culture and black people in general, he's put it on a platform where he's been able to like spoon feed it to people, where it's digestible and people, you know what I'm saying, understand it and want to pay attention to it. And then, you know what I'm saying, in turn are seeking out like their own help with when it comes to therapy or just paying attention to their mental health and the things that they do on a daily basis. So I think that's super important. The next Instagram live I'm doing next Wednesday is actually focused on mental health, specifically for Black men, and just like how we deal and cope with that. So I definitely want to shout out him, because I think that he's actively doing the work, and I think that especially now during the pandemic, probably more than ever, we probably all need to pay attention to our mental health more, because we're all dealing with it in our own different ways. And after everything is done and over and we go back to some form of normalcy, I think that we're still gonna have some, you know, saying PTSD, you know, saying from everything that we're going through, and not being able to be around loved ones for holidays, and, you know, saying being out of the office and being in front of the computers for hours at a time, you know, saying just working at home. Realizing that for a lot of people, like I dealt with the fact that it was like the office was the office and like my house was like my safe haven. And it's like now I bring the stress from the office into my safe haven and trying to cope with that at the same time. So that's a lot that wears on people. So I think like just paying attention to things is super duper important. And I appreciate him for doing the work. And then in turn, I'm trying to do my part with my platform to make sure that I can kind of spread the word and make sure people know that it's something that you need to pay attention to, something that doesn't make you weak or less of a person, because you notice that you may have some things that you need to work on. And I think that the biggest thing for me is making sure that I work on these things now so I don't pass it down to another generation that doesn't even know where it came from. So I'm just want to shout out Charlemagne and mental health. That the whole conversation I think is super duper important.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate you sharing that. Well, before we close, Johnnie, for all of our listeners out there, you just mentioned that you're going to be doing an episode on mental health. Where else can our listeners find you and hear more about Breaking the Cycle?
Yeah, so you can follow me on my personal Instagram page. That's at JLonon, JLONON, or at Breaking the Cycle. It's breaking the cycle. So those are my Instagram handles. I have some other lives coming up. Also putting a platform together to get like groups of men to talk bi-weekly on a Zoom call about some different topics, to kind of have like a barbershop talk type thing where people just check in and kind of just like have some type of accountability and just like somewhere like a safe space that we can have for us just managers talk about conversations and topics that we deal with. So that's going to be coming in 2021. I'm gonna have some merch coming out in 2021 that I'm really excited about. And just I'm saying further in the conversation to talk about some topics that might be uncomfortable, but you know what I'm saying will get us one step closer to being I'm saying healthy human beings and growing in every way possible. So just super excited about some of the content I got coming out, and my website will be coming out in 2021 as well. So I'll be putting all my content on there so people can find it on Instagram or on there. So just continuously working, man, continuously trying to do stuff that people will I'm saying find find some type of healing or, you know, saying impact from, and yeah, just trying to keep the conversation going.
That's what's up. Thank you for sharing that with us. Well, before we close, you can follow us at the Convo Lounge. You can also check us out on our website. You can follow us at the Convo Lounge on Instagram and on Twitter. You can also check us out on Patreon and our website. We'll drop it in the show notes. You can also follow me on Instagram on my personal page at the_prosperous_1. And for my co-host,
you can find me at char.rochelle on Instagram, as well as at Char's Cookie Jar.
Antonio Crow Clothing and Convo Lounge.
Cool. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you once again to our guest, Johnny from Breaking the Cycle. Y'all stay blessed and have a good one.
Thank you, Johnny. Super proud of you. You are having great conversations. Please keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Y'all be blessed.
All right.